Hey guys, what's up? It's Pixelated-Apollo. Thanks for stopping by. And for today's video, we are going to have a super serious discussion. No, I'm just kidding. It's not going to be super serious, but I do have some constructive criticism towards CA, and I have some concerns that I want to share with you guys about the future of Total War. You know, like the next Total War title. And let me make this clear that this is not a hateful video or a rant towards CA. Like, oh, CA, you're terrible. Your new games are garbage. It's nothing like that. I love CA, I love Total War, and I love the new games as well. They're very entertaining. I feel like it's really healthy to critique things that you love because you really want to see the full potential out of them. And especially a game like Total War or a game series like Total War, because they're a monopoly. And I don't say that in a negative way. They had a really creative idea, they delivered, and they created one of the greatest gaming series in all of mankind. I mean, it's a beautiful format. You can't experience any like epic scale battle like you can in Total War. Now, we've seen a couple games kind of come close to Total War, but they were never as I remember there was like a King Arthur game, and it was kind of like the same Total War format, but it was never as successful. But anyways, Total War is essentially a monopoly, and that's not good for the consumer, because it's always great to have someone who's like competing, it's good to have competitors, because you will push yourself to beat that competitor. You'll push yourself to make a fantastic game. And unfortunately, CA doesn't have that. So I think it's really good to have some constructive criticism every once in a while. So that's what this video is going to be about. I also want this place, like the comment section, to be a place where it's just free speech. I want you guys to express yourself, have some opinions, have healthy discussions. And if I say anything that you agree with or even disagree with, let me know. Just write maybe I don't bring up something that you don't like or you do like. Just bring it up and, have some discussions. Leave a like, leave a dislike. But if you do leave a dislike, be sure to explain why. Why do you dislike this video? Why do you dislike my arguments? And whether you like it or dislike it, be sure to share, because I really want this video to float around the community, just so we can get a bigger scope of how everyone feels about this video. And by the way, I want to be as transparent as possible. I don't want to be a phony that's just like, oh, everything that you do, CA, is just perfect. Now give me that early access. I don't want to be like that. I want to be very honest with you guys. So we're going to be talking about 3 to 4 different topics here, and they're mostly about the battles in Total War, which obviously my channel is focused around. So I'm going to be really just leaving some criticism about the battles. So we'll go ahead and get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is just the overall feeling of the newer battles. So I'd say about Shogun 2 and up. And by the way, Shogun 2 is probably one of the best Total Wars, or more recent Total Wars. It's just overall a well-made game. It had fantastic DLC. The multiplayer was amazing. The Avatar Conquest, that is like the greatest thing ever. But I feel like Shogun 2 was the start of the very arcadey battles, as in they were extremely fast, the maps were super small, and they also added like these capture points where it would give you buffs, which I really didn't mind, because you could just unselect it. Like if you don't want to play that kind of game mode, you can just deselect it, and it really wasn't a big deal. But I looked at it and I was like, well, maybe it's just the region, the time period. Samurai, the battles are faster. You got ninja samurai. The fighting is more elegant, But then Rome 2 came out, and I really don't want to bring up that game again. I still get, sad about it. I believe it never became the full potential of what we were hoping it was going to be. But I want to bring up some things that we are still seeing from Rome 2 in the newer games. So Rome is a time period where you have these soldiers of massive shields. You would think that the battles would go on for a little bit longer, but again, just like Shogun 2, the battles are extremely arcadey, extremely arcadey. You've got these very fast battles. Even the siege battles went by so fast that it just, the whole vibe of the game, well, it's hard to explain with words, but the best way I can explain it is when I play Shogun 2 and up, like in the games, I feel like I'm playing a video game. And I know that's funny because I'm literally playing a video game, but when I go to Napoleon, Total War, and down, so like Napoleon, Medieval 2, even Rome 1, I feel like I'm on the battlefield. I know I might be nerding out right now, but when I play Medieval 2 and let's say I'm commanding the Holy Roman Empire, I feel like the emperor. I feel like these men that I'm commanding were human beings who were born and raised in the empire. Maybe they were, mercenaries, but who cares about the mercenaries? And I don't want them to die. I care about them, but we have to fight. We have to protect our borders. And when I fight a battle, I don't want to do any suicide charges. And if I do have to sacrifice a unit, it's like the saddest thing for me. Like seeing them charge in, and like a tear comes down my cheek, and I'll sing a song about them as they fight. And they make the ultimate sacrifice to save the day so the rest of the army can seize victory. That's the kind of feeling I get with the older games. It's just, they had these huge maps. Like, what is the deal with the maps? They are so tiny. I mean, look at Rome 2 or even Attila and even Warhammer. If you have like a 3v3 or a 4v4, the armies barely fit inside the map. And that is so sad because it just takes away a lot of the tactics. Like, you can't flank around with cav because there's just like this long line of infantry, like riot police or something. Like, you just can't get around it. So those little things that make it feel so arcadey, and just, I love the grittiness. I mean, look at the battlefield of Napoleon Total War. Look how huge that battlefield is, and just look at the units, the detail, and I don't know what it is, but when you play a battle, it's not going to end in 10 minutes. And I'm sorry, this is strategy, and when we play strategy, we go hardcore. Now, I understand a lot of strategy games are being very streamlined. They want to grow the strategy genre. They want more people playing, and I get it. I mean, look at the new Hearts of Iron game, very streamlined. And the sad truth is that I'm more interested in that before. And I know if there's any big Hearts of Iron fans out there, you're like probably thinking I'm the cancer, I'm the problem here. But that's the sad truth, is that I understand why Total War is kind of dumbing down, or streamlining is the more correct term for that, their games, and making the battles feel more arcadey. I just hope that they can come up with a system where if you want to play on a smaller battlefield and faster battles, then there should be an option. I mean, look at Warhammer. By the way, Warhammer, fantastic game, but one major problem is, like, yes, it feels very arcadey, but that's okay because it's a fantasy and it's supposed to feel kind of arcadey. But a 4v4 siege battle, it should not last 16 minutes. That is ridiculous. That is way too short, and that is not fun. I want to have an emotional connection to my men. I don't want to see them die, and I lose that. I lose that in the newer games. So I don't really have like a solution to that problem. I think that if they increase the battles a little bit longer, like the morale is a little bit better, they fight for a longer time. I just feel like the newer games are all about how fast you can hotkey and click, and I want tactics to win the battle, not how quick you can click a button, like superior tactics, being more prepared for your opponent, and just having a better army comp compared to your opponent. I want to see more of that. And I'm not too concerned about it for Warhammer because whatever, Warhammer's arcadey. It's naturally arcadey, even those siege battles, but we'll get to the siege battles, don't worry. I hope that the next historical title is a little less arcadey, bigger battlefields. The units fight for a little bit longer. The siege battles, at least, I mean, if it's a 4v4, it at least last about 25 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes. Because when I go and, I'm the kind of person that when I'm building an army, I take my time because these are the brave men who are about to do battle. You'll get the people in there who are like, hurry up, build your army, let's go. I take my time. I'm like, oh, this is an important unit. This is a very brave swordsman. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a nerd. Maybe I just like to role play too much. But that was the really cool thing about Total War, those older games like Medieval 2 and Napoleon, is that whether you win or lose, it's really fun. It is really fun because it's like you're on the battlefield. It just feels more real, even though it's not. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing, it's not. The older ones aren't more historically correct because, I mean, back in the day, if an army was on top of a hill and the other army would be like, all right, well, we're just going to walk away. We're not going to fight. But there's something about them that gives you this gritty vibe that, like, man, these are my men. They're fighting for me. I'm commanding them and I love them. And I hope they survive the battle. It's the newer games are just losing the role play, ability. Anyways, that's my first topic there about how arcadey the battles are getting. The next thing I want to talk about is multiplayer. Total War, the prime time to be a multiplayer player for Total War was during Shogun 2. That avatar system was awesome. That was so cool. You would have to conquer the campaign. You would slowly unlock troops. You can customize these troops. You could rename your troops. They become veterans. They get better over time. That was so amazing. And then Rome 2 comes and it's bare bones. It's like pathetic. It's just basic lobby, you join, and the replayability is just gone. Why did they get rid of Avatar Conquest? Now, I understand it's not balanced. It's nowhere close to balanced, but that was their first time doing something like that, and they could have improved it by just continuing to do it and fine-tuning it, So I'm really sad that multiplayer is just dying, and I don't think that's true because if you look at my channel, I'm a multiplayer channel, and I feel like, my success, partially because of my success, is because of multiplayer. People love multiplayer. Now, I understand Total War went with more, they wanted to focus with single player with Warhammer, and it wasn't a bad mistake. It wasn't a mistake. It was a good idea because it's obviously the game's doing very well. But Warhammer originally is a tabletop game. You paint your troops, you customize your armies. They missed a huge opportunity there. I mean, could you imagine Avatar Conquest for Warhammer? You can paint your troops and you can name them if they do something crazy in battle. For example, if I had some black orcs and they won the day for me, I could call them Pixie's Guard, and I can customize my banners. And then you could even do some cosmetic DLC. Nobody gets upset about cosmetic DLC. At least I don't, because it doesn't change the gameplay. So you could do all kinds of DLC for different armor designs or different banners and stuff like that. I think that is a much better way of doing multiplayer. And I thought Rome 2 was bare bones, and then I played Warhammer, and oh my God, it's even more bare bones. You can't change the weather. You can't change the time of day. I know those are little things, but it stinks. That's not cool. If I want a snowy battlefield, I should be able to get a snowy battlefield, unless it's in the south or somewhere where it's a desert, then that makes sense. But there's no option to, set the time period or the time and day. What if I want to fight a night battle? Where is that? That was so cool. And again, that's the more the arcadey feeling is the lack of control you have for your options for multiplayer. And that just really makes me sad that they don't care. And it has me concerned about the next historical title that, again, they're going to focus on single player. And that, no, bring back Avatar Conquest. Bring it back. We want it. It was such a good system. And if they could just have maybe a streamlined version that people could click on, oh, I'm a casual player and I don't care, let's do the streamlined version, the dumbed down version. I mean, can you imagine if if they made another Napoleon. So let's say they made a Napoleon 2 Total War and they had the avatar system. So let's say they did everything that Napoleon needs in Napoleon 2. So they need more diversity, more units in the roster, just larger scale campaigns so you can conquer the world, kind of like Empire Total War. But they also had Avatar Conquest for multiplayer. How freaking cool would that be to be able to name your units, to get veteran units, to unlock units on the campaign map, to be able to color your units, have uniforms, change your banner. You could do like DLC for cosmetic stuff. That would be amazing. That would be so cool. I'm kind of hoping for a Napoleon 2 or maybe like another medieval-ish time period. That would be really great. Like maybe even a pike and shot time period. But I'm just hoping that we will see Avatar Conquest once again. So again, I hope that Total War focuses on multiplayer because I can't say for sure. And honestly, I don't know. I don't have any data on this. I don't have any evidence or proof to back this up, but I feel like people really do care about multiplayer. And honestly, Warhammer is not really going to have that great of replayability until the next Warhammer series or next Warhammer part comes out where they add new factions. Because as of right now, there's like 6 factions if you buy the DLC for Chaos. And it's going to get boring really fast because it's the same armies over and over and over. So hopefully they come up with a better multiplayer for the next historical series. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to talk about was siege battles. Warhammer siege battles they're terrible. They're really bad. It's a slap in the face, to be honest, at least to me personally, because siege battles, that was the coolest thing for me for Total War. Field battles, pitch battles are really fun. Sure, whatever. I like playing them. But when it comes to siege battles, it's like the most amazing experience ever. And they just got rid of that completely in Warhammer. I guess they were trying to come up with a more casual, faster way to do siege battles. I don't really know. I mean, I know there was a lot of issues with siege battles in Attila. I wasn't a huge fan of Attila siege battles, but looking at Warhammer, Attila siege battles look like golden paradise. Like it's so bad. It is so bad. There's no strategy. The arrow towers have unlimited range. Troops just randomly like pull ladders out of their butts and puts them on the walls. It's like, where did they get these ladders? Like, where is the fun in that? You should have to carry those ladders. It should slow down your troops. The arrow towers should not have unlimited range, and I should be able to attack on any direction. Like, why is there just one long wall? It's not fun, especially for the multiplayer experience. Single player, I get it. I really do, because in Attila, most of the time, or any other Total War, whenever you siege a city and you don't have a lot of troops, you just kind of wait for them to starve, which, honestly is historically accurate, but maybe they want people to be, I don't know, maybe they want them to actually attack, but it's not good. It's not a good format. I think they need to go back to the drawing board and change that up, because it's just not good. I mean, yeah, it shouldn't take like I said earlier, 4v4, 16 minutes. I want to use tactics. I want to use strategy, and there's no strategy in this. Like, you just throw everybody up on the walls and you just rush. Like, that's it. And then it's over. Game over. I don't get it. I hope they change it for future Warhammer titles. And also, my goodness, if the next historical title has the same siege layout, I'm going to lose my mind. I honestly, at that point, I'll still play Total War, but okay, like I said earlier, siege battles are the main reason I went to Total War. It's the main reason I played Total War. It's pretty obvious by looking at my channel. I have a ton of siege battles. I remember, and everybody needs to. Prince of Macedon, who is the pretty much the father of YouTube Total War. He had this amazing siege battle in Medieval 2, and I'll link it in the description. You guys check it out. Now, if you watch me a lot, the tactics are really bad, but at the time, I wasn't really good at siege battles, and when I watched that battle replay, I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. And it's one of the most popular Prince of Macedon videos. And I was like, yes, like I'm gonna do a lot of siege battles because that's unreal. Like, it was so fun to see him like hold back this entire. I will always remember that battle because that was the battle that inspired me to start a YouTube channel and to focus it around siege battles. And the fact that ever since after Medieval 2, the siege battles have just gotten worse and worse. Shogun 2 siege battles, whatever. They're a different kind of play style. They're okay. But Rome 2, Attila, the siege battles, those towers, they have a lot of issues. And then Warhammer is just a slap in the face. And I hope that they fix that. I hope they don't continue to make games like that, because then I'll just cry. Like, I'll just be really sad because siege battles are so important to me. So important. So that's why I would probably give Warhammer a 7 out of 10, because the battles are really fast and the sieges are bad. They're really bad. So, that's my main concern, honestly, about Total War in the future, is just those siege battles. I hope they come up with something better. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk about, and this is something that's kind of low on my radar. I mean, I'm not super critical about this because I don't care as much, which is the campaign. They've extremely streamlined the campaign, and I really think they're missing some great opportunities as like making the trading and diplomacy way more dynamic, especially for historical titles where you have to find a reason to declare war on someone. You can't just be like, all right, I'm attacking you. Like Crusader Kings, how you have to like come up with reasons to declare war, claim territory. That's really cool. That is really cool. So I hope that they can do that. But honestly, I don't think they're going to. And I think I'm just wasting my breath here because every time, well, to be fair, the campaign for Warhammer, they added a lot of cool features, mostly because it's the fantasy, or it's a fantasy title, so you can have like quest battles, you can do spells, you can unlock spells and get better traits. I mean, you could do that for a historical title. It just wouldn't be, I guess it wouldn't be as interesting. I don't know, it'd be pretty cool to like unlock a famous, I don't know what I'm talking about. Like maybe a famous weapon, or you can name his weapon, or he gets better. That's usually what they do. But if you look at a campaign like Medieval 2, where you can have so much control over your kingdom, you can convert it into a town, you can build walls, you can convert it into a fortress, you have to manage your troops. Like if you have an elite troop, right? And let's pretend that we're the Kingdom of England, and you can get these like you can get these feudal knights in York, and you go to battle and you go a really far distant land, and your feudal knights die. Well, you have to go back to York, or you have to ship those feudal knights from York into your army that's on a war campaign. In the newer games, if you have an elite unit and they get somewhat depleted, you can be walking in the desert and somehow you find like new like recruits, like, oh, look at this, more feudal knights out of nowhere. Like they really streamlined the campaign. And again, I don't have a huge problem. I still enjoy the campaign. I just think it would be really interesting, and I would probably play campaign more if they had a little bit more dynamic diplomacy, trading, having like certain supplies that can really, like having better horses, or because you're in an area where the horses are well trained, or having more wine in a certain areas, which keeps your city happier. I don't know. I am just kind of shooting things on the top of my head. But honestly, we see a lot of strategy games streamlining, like Civilization and like Hearts of Iron and other games like that. But I do want to mention some things that CA has corrected, which I'm really thankful for. Like they fixed the Warscape engine. Like Warhammer, the impacts and the collisions are way better thank you so much for answering or for listening to the people's concerns. That Warscape engine just ruined Rome 2 and Attila. I mean, I still enjoy it with some mods, but yeah, overall, it's just like, oh my god, this is so bad. So it's great to see that they are listening and they improved the engine a little bit. So that's fantastic. Also, I like the tactical view. That was really cool. Like, they have a lot of cool things that they are improving on. So that's really great. Like, tactical view it's really cool to see the battle from a different point of view, almost from like a historical a documentary about a historical battle where you see the blocks and you see the troops and where they're located and how the battle's playing out. And also the camera views, like being able to zoom in and getting rid of the HUD and even doing like a cinematic view. That is so cool, and especially as a YouTuber, that is so helpful. It would be great if they added more like replay tools, like being able to do like super slow motion or being able to cut to certain parts of the replay. Now again, I'm a little bit biased here because I am a Total War YouTuber. I'm sure most people don't care about that, but it would be cool to see more replay tools. That would be pretty great. And for my final statement here is all I want is CA to consider what I have to say. I don't expect them to do everything I want, because honestly, maybe nobody cares. No, maybe I'm the only one who cares about the things I talked about. But all I want is CA to listen, consider what I have to say, and also consider what the people have to say down in the comments. So I'm going to wrap this video up, guys. Please be sure to voice your opinion. Let me know how you feel about these certain categories, or talk about something I didn't bring up. Those are just some of the major things that I hope they change. So thank you guys so much for watching. It means a lot to me, and I will see you next time.